Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, broadcasting to you live from emosocialclub.tv. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we're here this afternoon with our new friend Tyler of Youth Fountain. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's kind of early where you are, but we super appreciate it.
No worries at all. Yeah, my name's Tyler. I sing and play guitar in Youth Fountain. I've been at this project now, I guess, for probably starting Youth Fountain. I think it's been 3 years, I want to say. So it still feels like it's a new sort of project, but it is something that I started as the name Bedroom Talk under like back in 2012 ish. So I'm I've been doing music now for a while, that's for sure. And I've been singing emo sad songs since I was an angsty teenager, whining about life. So
yeah,
it's definitely been my it's definitely been my musical outlet for a long time.
I'm gonna say I heard a lot of starting line in your a lot of starting line influences.
I was about to say Bedroom Talk is my favorite starting line song, and that's all I said.
There you go. Yeah, I mean that's people. Yeah, like that is literally. I remember, being in high school, remembering that The Story So Far, and wearing their shirt. Yeah. They named their band after, I think, Newfound Glory, like a song, like The Story So Far. And then I was like, oh, they looked through their iPod to look through song names, and I was just looking through song names, and I was like, what could I name my pop punk band?
Yeah.
And then I saw Bedroom Talk. I was like, you know what? That'd be a sick pop punk band name. And yeah, but then as things changed, under the label and stuff like that, they thought it was better to go under a new name. So I went under Youth Fountain, and it's been working, and it's cool, and I'm just happy to be playing the same kind of music that I've been doing since I was a kid. So yeah.
I do feel like there are a lot of All Time Low got theirs from a Newfound Glory lyric. Like there's a lot of bands that we see now that are like these huge bands that literally just took a song title or a lyric from an older band and just said, that's our name now. That's who we are.
It's true. I mean, some people go as far, like the band See You Space Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
They're from, an anime reference,
it gets me.
Cowboy Bebop. So yeah, I don't know. I guess anything that just, you hear that sounds pretty cool. Yeah. You're like, I guess that could be a band name.
that was one, and there are a lot, but that was one specifically where I was like, fuck, I could have done that. I was watching Adult Swim. I could have done that. I could have literally just taken that. It was right there for the taking the whole time. Fuck.
I know. I hate band names sometimes where I don't know, even if I think about starting up a side project or something like that, and then I'm just like, man, I have no idea I what to name a band sometimes. Yeah. I'm just like, they're hard, dude. They're hard to think of something that's not taken.
Yeah.
And also sounds cool.
Yeah.
So
I think that's where people just start making up words or
yeah, for sure.
Just say or now I guess it's more if we talk about the emo hip hop scene or more solo artist type stuff, then it's just put a different letter in there. Just it's your regular name. But I'm thinking Jaden, it's just JXDN. It's well, that's not even an A.
Exactly. Literally. I think I also remember when we were thinking about band names for Bedroom Talk, we were just oh, well, what if we just change the A to a V or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad we didn't do that.
Yeah. That's a DJ name. It would be a Bedroom Talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is actually the longest conversation we've ever had with any guest about the band name, because we're
yeah, we usually never do the whole what's your band name me type thing.
Yeah.
You always go on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
You never ask that, but sometimes just organically.
This is just
this is the longest we have discussed about in the entire 3 years we've been a podcast.
Yep.
I know. Yeah, I just know that so many people always asked about it, and and now it's just it's engraved in my brain now to always talk about it.
Yep. I think. We everybody always is well, let's ask about the band name, and we're just no, dude, let's talk about you, and let's talk about the people in the band, and let's talk about your personalities and all that. But at the same time, there's some funny stories, I'm sure, that come out with all these things. So
and it never ends.
Yeah,
it really does.
Well, we can talk about what you've got going on musically. We talked about before we started recording. We were talking about Peace Offering, which is the latest single that came out. So, do we want to talk about new music, or do we want to talk about the music that's out right now?
Yeah, I mean, so like back in February, we dropped a new single there, and I don't know, it's going to be off that single's on the new record that's coming out this fall. I don't know if I should announce the actual day, but I mean, it is going to be in the fall. And we have some new singles coming out, I guess, late summer, so that's exciting. I just don't want to drop any dates in case, I don't know, in case something changes.
As soon as you say it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that I thought I'd have new music out by spring, and the album was done, but it's always up to labels and when tours are getting aligned and when there's so many other things that come into play. It's I wish it was as easy as it was when I was like a teenager, where I would just record songs and just put it on SoundCloud or YouTube and just be like, here's a song I made, there you go. But I guess to get the most out of it and get people to hear your music, you gotta do things properly. So
sure.
Yeah. So I'm super excited to finally get some new content out by end of summer, around the fall, and I don't know. I'm trying to do a Canadian run with another couple bands that are from here, Chief State. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they're another pop punk band. So I might be doing a Canada run with them. Maybe, I don't know. It's still up in the air.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And yeah, and of course Europe too in February. So that'll be my first time ever going out that way. So I don't know. It's gonna be a trek and an adventure. So
yeah.
You're really jumping straight back into it. Like you said, hey, I'm just ready. Let's go. Because when I was looking at everything, I'm like, wow, there's no immediate North America dates. It's European. He just said, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard of Corey Wells. He's another kind of solo emo acoustic act, and I got a message from him being like, we should do this, and I was like, wow, yeah. I mean, I've never been out that way, and I don't know. I would love to seize an opportunity like that. I feel like that's a once in a lifetime thing. So doing something like that is literally a dream come true. To play music somewhere else that's not this continent or something. I don't know. That's fucking wild to me.
Yeah.
I'm super grateful and humbled to do something like that. Yeah.
Sometimes I was like, oh yeah, just Canada. It's you just come on down to the US, but I know it's been a lot tougher obviously now, but also hearing friends that have toured between the two countries, it really is not that simple. Just to come into the US and go back and forth.
Not at all, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even getting work visas and stuff is a endeavor for sure to try to. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, playing the States, to go to Canada to the States, I don't know what's harder. I actually think if you're a band in the US to tour Canada, it's easier. But if you're Canadian and going to the States, apparently I think it's harder. So I've heard. But I don't know. There still is ways, but just touring Canada alone sucks because of how the cities are all spaced out between each province. But then the States, you go down there, if you're in Chicago, you can I don't know, I'm pretty bad at remembering all that stuff, but I know you guys have cities you could drive to. I want to say, I don't know, it's not the longest drive, but you can go down to I want to say Minnesota or something.
Yeah. That's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
I think our central location gets to Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Indianapolis.
That's what I wanted.
But then we've talked to so many bands that are out of New York or Pennsylvania, and they're all right there. They're all super close to one another, and I'm like, damn. Why am I here? There's so many more bands and there's so many more touring opportunities there. Everything just so close to one another. And I'm like, yeah, as soon as you start getting more west, it's the next city's in a day. Let's drive forever.
that's what's so much better about, I don't know, being a band in the States. And in Canada, it's like, if I'm in Vancouver, it's like a 14-hour drive to the next, to the next big city. And then like, but if you're on the East Coast in like Toronto, you can go down to like Ottawa, and then obviously from there you can go to Buffalo, New York, and it's just like so much easier around there. And I think that's why a lot more, you know, musicians and bands they tend to be on the East Coast. It seems.
I think,
Vancouver, where I am, it's a little bit of an odd place to pursue music. So I don't know where I was going with that.
I think I was.
Well, you did mention earlier before we hopped on like the live stream how, you know, we had like a kind of like a big pop punk scene here, but you didn't have too much of that where you are. So how did that kind of influence you growing up? Like, what was that experience and like discovering like pop punk and emo and not having, you know, that type of like community, I guess to say, compared to like other states that are more like known for like their pop punk bands?
Oh man, that's a really good question, because it really sucked. It really sucked. I remember being in like high school and stuff, and like, man, I couldn't connect with anybody. I was just the weird emo kid.
Look, that's still the same here. That still stands.
I mean, but still, like, where I was, it was like fucking no one really. I would never see anyone wearing like a band shirt that like, it was always very rare if I would see someone wearing like a band shirt from like a band that I would know. I'd just be like, oh my God. And like, I'd have the urge so much to go and talk to them, but I'd have too much anxiety. Sure. So I couldn't do it. Yeah. I don't know. It really sucked though. But like, I don't know. Eventually, I don't know. As I got older and started trying to play music and try to find other musicians off like, you know, Craigslist and like just being in and like trying to see what I could do. Eventually I did find like a pocket of people that like not necessarily like maybe liked exactly the same bands as me, but they maybe like the same like Warped Tour-ish, you know, like that whole alternative. And you know, there was like a small community in the Lower Mainland where I lived that like kind of were into that kind of stuff, and I think I met a good chunk of people through that, like growing up in my, you know, later teens, the early adult life. So yeah, I think that's so. At least I'm grateful for that. It took a lot of time, but I mean, obviously, being like younger, growing up, I couldn't connect with many people, so I didn't have very many friends. That's for sure.
Like, that sounds very similar, very
every
familiar.
Emo kid's villain origin story.
Yeah.
I grew up, I didn't have friends. Here we are. Now, please.
And I learned to play music.
Exactly. You know, it can kind of suck at first, but you know, you make what you can of it, and just hope things get better. And you know, it tends to get better. You got to just keep on going on.
Yeah. Now, I'm 34. That's my actual age. I usually joke that I'm like 108. But I'm going to tell you my real age on this one so that I can like reset and I can start making the joke that I'm much older now for the next one.
I mean, yeah, you're trying to push the 200s, and I'm like,
no, 200's ridiculous. 100, that's fair. So it feels like to me that there is like the generation is exactly the same, you know, like we all grew up in the same experience. But I do feel like now, like I'm kind of realizing this lately is just like there is a like something that happened where everybody who's younger actually like wants to play music and wants to be in a band, and everyone my age is like, I really want that, but then they like don't do it. Like, yeah, I really want to like show up, I really want to like play music, but there's like, no, I don't actually want to like work at this.
It's the drive to want to actually do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, sometimes I think people like glorify like, oh, being in a band must be so cool and like it must be so easy and it's just so chill and like, you just get to party and like it's just like, no, like if you actually want to try to like really make a career out of it, it's like, it's wild. Yeah. It literally becomes like a 9-to-5 job. Yeah. It really can be like that, you know. It's either way you can't win. Either way you got to work and you got to really bust your ass to try to make something of any goal you want to try to achieve. I think to some people that are just very, naive with what it's like to try to pursue music. They just don't. It's so foreign to them.
Yeah.
It's definitely like kind of making your own business, especially if you get more serious with it. And I was looking at that as like a podcast angle too. I'm like, it's like a mini business, and you don't realize it until you start to really buckle down. You're like, I'm serious about this, and then you're like, oh no, there's a lot going on here. Yeah. And like, if people who are in like their 30s and 40s, they're like, oh, I want to do this. I also have like the exposable income, in most senses for, just generalization.
Yeah.
Do it, then they're like, well, I already have a 9-to-5 job. I don't want to add another one.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'm at a catch-22, guys.
I know. It's very true. I think that if you have, I don't know, like, because if you're doing something like you have your day job and something kind of small that you do, and you still leave that room to try to pursue music, then you have more flexibility. But like you said, it takes up so much time. It's a really tough thing to try to do, and there's always that possibility that you can keep working and working and working, but you're not always guaranteed to succeed. It's a tough business to get involved in. It's like with film or animation or anything artistic it's very hard to try to like really, make it and go somewhere. It just takes like so much work. And I don't know. I always come down to the philosophy that you should just do it because you love to do it.
Right.
If you just like making music, and which is what I do, I just go on my laptop, grab my guitars, and I just make music. And that's it. I do it because I like to do it, and that's what it should be for people. That's what I believe, at least. I don't know, because I feel like a lot of people know that musicians don't really, make the big bucks. That's for sure.
You would be surprised how many people I have worked with who are like in early college, and they're like, yeah, I can make a lot of money in music. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh gosh.
That's funny. That's silly. Let's talk about it.
I'm just like, who says that? What?
Have you spoken to a real musician?
Wildin'.
Yeah. Who's telling them that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, oh man. One of my friends told me, like, they were watching some like big, I don't know, some person who's like super successful in music, and they were like on the red carpet, and they were just like, so how are you doing financially? They're like, oh, I'm fucking broke, like,
wow.
It's like, I don't know, apparently even like the big stars can get broke. Yeah. So it makes me like, well, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, listen, if Rihanna had to sue like a handful of years ago, she was like, I'm almost broke because my management team like took my money. I'm like, oh, bitch, what? Yeah. Like, it's possible.
Of course, yeah. I don't know. Either way, money comes and goes, I guess.
Yeah. I've kind of realized, like, yeah, it's more about the enjoyment of the process of doing the work. Like, if you can pay your bills and you're living fine, and in your case, buying as many Hylian shields as possible, like, then, you're set. You can defend yourself from the Deku nuts being tossed at you.
Exactly. That's all life is about.
Yeah.
You just got as many Hylian shields as possible. That's
just in case a like takes one and you need another.
Yeah, exactly.
Lizzie's like, what the fuck are you talking about? The band is just you, right? Like you're the leader, and you're in charge.
You recently just had your counterpart basically leave and actually joined Real Friends.
Yeah.
So how has that been for you? Or would you be looking to want to maybe get more of like a cohort behind you, or would you just still want to do it solo and just move on forward?
Yeah, I mean, I said, I started it when I was younger as a solo project, and later on I met Cody, and like I had a few songs already kind of written, and we collaborated. And back then Bedroom Talk obviously wasn't like, I never really took it like seriously, like I want to pursue it or whatever. And like Cody was like, he saw potential in it. He's like, we can we can have you like I can feature on this, and we released a song and people dug it, and we were like, oh, let's try to do like a record, and like I had him sing on like other songs that I wrote, and then we wrote like a few songs together, like Rose Colored Glass and Complacent, like that are on our Letters to Our Former Selves record. And and then eventually, you know, things change, and he got that opportunity, so like that's sweet, and he could take that, and I was just like, oh, I'll just keep doing my own thing. I mean, I don't really care. It was always like something that I had, and I was always the kind of like the brain of the music and writing it, so I just keep going. I don't think finding someone else is really necessary, just because, you know, I feel I'm confident I'm capable of myself and what I can do. So I don't know. It's chill, and like, I don't know, I'm happy for him, and that's sweet. And you know, if anything, like, I guess like when that was all announced, like, I guess like a lot of Real Friends fans like found out about the project Youth Fountain too. So like that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, that's sweet. At least they can hear some old songs that have been written and stuff, and maybe once the new record drops, other people could check it out too that maybe would never have heard it. So it's just exciting either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, we've talked a lot about this, and with like emo hip hop and emo, like sort of going forward, I think it is going to be a lot more like independent people, like just one person in the band, or it's like just
common for sure.
Yeah. It's also just like, and I say this, and I don't know if my friends in my band are going to listen to this, but I'm going to call you out.
Oh, no.
I'm going to say, like, sometimes it's really hard working with a bunch of people who own something,
Dude,
who are part
really
of a product.
The text that I got from you last night was like, my band. I said,
I'm like, and if you are listening, I love you guys, but also when you are the one person to own something and it belongs to you, or if you're working with a small team and it belongs to both, like Lizzie and I work very well together on this podcast, but it's so much easier. It's just so much more straightforward. And like, I think that's why I wonder if I'm like, I'm old, so maybe I didn't learn this quickly enough. And maybe all the young people learned it so much faster. Is like, you can move so much farther and faster doing it by yourself than if you ever work with other people.
It's true, because, you know, man, when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, you know, too many fucking people thinking about ideas and want to do things a certain way. And, you know, like, even when I was working with another, like with Cody, like, obviously, even with two people, sometimes you can clash and have different ideas and stuff. And like, man, like, and then try to bring like another, like a drummer, a bass player, another guitar player, and all. It's like, if they're all involved and wanting to write too and stuff, it's just like, it becomes a fucking explosion of a headache, and you're just like, I don't even want to fucking do this anymore. I'm just too stressed out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's why, like, when I learned how to like record myself and just do that, I was just like, well, because I grew up playing bass, and then I took on drums, and I was just able to kind of compose and write by myself. So I don't know, once I was able to learn how to record, it was so much easier just to write songs and just by myself and just do it, just all the ideas that I have in my head, you know? So I don't know. It's just, if you're able to do it, I definitely highly encourage people to just, like, you know, if they have their own ideas in their head, it's just like, I don't know, pursue what you want. If you have a vision, you know, like,
just run with that vision. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, like you said, I don't know. There's something about there's something freeing about just doing things yourself. That's for sure. But also, it can be cool if you do have like a whole band and everyone's on board and like it just works. There's something really special about that too, because man, that sometimes does not work.
It's very rare. We talked with one band, and the singer is like a communications expert, or like, I forget what he was, but he like had a degree in communications. It's like, that's the only way you can make it work with four people.
I think it was like an interdisciplinary communications. And I was like, oh, I'm aware. And I'm like, which is ironic, because every other interdisciplinary or just basic comm student that I've been friends with has no idea how to communicate. This is the only other person I know in the world who has good communication.
Yeah.
and went to school for it.
Yeah. They're like, I have to do that just to work with 3 other people and writing music. It's like, that's insane.
Listen, I work in like broadcast radio, and I could tell you how many people just don't know how to communicate. Mm-hmm. It's mind blowing. This one guy and this one band, I trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's funny when someone doesn't really know how to communicate, and you're just kind of trying to, like, you know, pick up what they're putting down. You're like, okay, and then you know, say you're doing something artistic, and you show them, they're like, oh, this is not at all what I want. Like, oh, I can't help you. You don't know how to talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't know
the words.
Yeah, it's like it's just everyone's so different, you know. Every person is just so different, and it's. To try to make a band and have a team is just you're lucky if you can pull it off. That's for sure.
One thing I always found, and I can ask you about this too, is especially when the lyrics are coming into play, especially when like you're the singer and you're trying to express your thoughts and feelings. Like Lizzie wrote this. I'm not going to act like I wrote this question, but obviously on the first LP, you know, it was, and even listening to the lyrics today, it was like, oh shit, like this is very like mental illness, mental health, like growing up in those sort of places. And it's like, how do you write that with a bunch of other people who may not know your experience or may not know what you're going through, and you're trying to express that thought and put that out? And it's like, yeah, I just really like this bass part. It's like, dude, I got so much else going on this thing. Like, like I'm putting a lot out here, and you're talking to me about like this drum fill, and it's hard. It's hard to like connect those two thoughts, I imagine.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, and that's why, again, like happened when I was just doing it myself, and when I did have Cody, like it was pretty easy, you know, because I don't know, it's just what I'm doing, and like I didn't need to, you know, have a whole band involved and try to like, you know, be like, oh, what if you didn't write that? What if you did like more of a lyric that like, you know, did this? And it's like, I don't know. It's just, it goes back to this, like, it's just too hectic.
Yeah.
If it's just so much more freeing to just write stuff that you want to write, and whatever just comes to you from the heart, you know, like, and that's what a lot of the lyrics that I write are. They're all just like literal feelings of what I've been through in my life and like how I'm feeling in the moment. And it's just an expression of, you know, getting things off my chest and just writing things that I want to write about, because I know that like other people, I'm not alone, you know, other people I know that's like, you know, like been through, everyone has their shit. Everyone fucking goes through life and fucking struggles and has like, you know, their problems. And I think that's why like emo music and like, you know, just a sad music is it's so popular, because I don't know. It's weird when I think about people that don't though. It's like, it's funny when you see like comments that are people be like, this is fucking emo shit. It's like, what do you listen to?
Yeah.
Like, you listen, like, is it just like, you know, like just like
are you listening to dubstep to cure your sadness? Because if so, how does that work? Because
it's like, I wonder if that's, it's like, because like everyone does have their shit, so it's like even the people that claim that like, you know, they, you know, they're like, fuck all that sad music. It's just like they must be going through something. There must be like, you said, does the dubstep cure their music? Like their head? Does it just doing the like the
rewire something in there? They're like, just set me off.
I know. Yeah, it's wild. I don't know.
I think it's similar too, because I know this has been a big thing. Like yeemo is like a thing. So country emo.
Oh yeah. Emo.
I was editing. I'll text Brian sometimes. I was editing one of the country shows for my station, and I was like, they're talking about some real sad shit in here. And I was like, maybe country is some of the emo actually.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Beyond I'm hanging out in my pickup truck, drinking my Miller Lite, you know, outside of that, maybe it is that. Maybe he's thinking.
If you want to talk about sad, that is sad.
That is.
Yeah,
sad.
no.
But I was thinking about that. I'm like, is it actually?
I remember like hearing some. I feel like it was like some stupid like Spike TV thing or something where they were talking about what is the saddest music, and apparently it is country. Like they're saying like, and like there's like some really dark shit that some artists talk about, and like I don't know, apparently like yeah, a lot of people, have off themselves and like they think about they've been listening to country a lot and shit. And apparently, it's a super sad, dark genre, and I've never got into country really. But I remember hearing and if I'd hear it on the radio and I'd really listen to it, I'd be like, holy shit, yeah, they're talking about some pretty heavy stuff. It was just like really low key. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe I have a hidden countryside that just needs to.
Yeemo's coming. It's about to jump out on the next album.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
I know. I saw your Twitter said, "Oh, recording's done in February." So we'll be like, "LOL, psych."
Yeemo
track.
Gotta go back. Gotta add some slide guitar.
Yeah, maybe I gotta scrap my whole next album and just record a whole country records, and Photoshop every promo of me with the
yes. Oh my god.
Normalize emo artists shifting to their one EP Yeemo period.
Yeah.
And then never talking about it again. They're like, you know what? That was a phase in my life and it's over now.
Yeah. After this, I'm literally going to take your promo photo and Photoshop a cowboy hat and send it to you. Be like, here you go. Got you.
Yeah. They're going to tag you. Someone from Pure Noise or Mark's going to get me like, hey, what are you doing with my boy? Listen.
We talked about this. It needs to happen. Yeah. I think it's the way for Youth Fountain to truly succeed.
Yes.
Really shine.
Just a cowboy hat. Like, if nothing else changes, just the cowboy hat.
No, you have to get a little skull belt buckle to be like, I'm hardcore still, but I got the bling.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's funny. I bet there are some fans that would probably fuck with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Every niche has its realm, right?
Like there's so many like emo kids. They're like on TikTok, it was like, oh, if you were an emo kid, but you also really liked country music, usually because like regional where somebody grew up, and they'd be like hitting on a lot of these like country songs. I don't listen to country much either, but like I'd listen to some of like the lyrics of what they would put in snippets. I'm like, yeah, that is really sad actually. Like that tracks for you as a whole person now.
Like,
not that that's good or bad, but
like,
an observation.
If MGK can get people to like pop punk, can there be an artist? And this is my fear. This is literally I'm afraid. Can there be an artist that makes like pop punk and emo fans like country music?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if Machine Gun Kelly can do it, I think anyone can do it. Yeah, it's crazy how big that guy is. Like, did he like? I don't really know too much about him, but did he used to just do like rap? Mm-hmm. Was it like really like? Okay, was he the guy that had like a rap battle with Eminem or some shit?
Did.
That was him.
Sure did.
Yeah, that was him. And that was the year that he was opening on the Fall Out Boy Stadium tour, and like.
Really?
I remember I got to Wrigley Field early because I wanted to see Rise Against. I did not care much for Machine Gun Kelly at the time. And I heard his set because it was there. And I'm like, I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this. But then like he came with his pop-up album. And I'm like, I only like this. I want to only hear this.
We're not fans. We're not fans of MGK. We're fans of the MGK pop punk album Tickets to My Downfall. Exclusively.
Not his cover of Swing Life Away by Rise Against. Nobody ever go listen to it. Block it on every streaming service you have.
I don't ever recommend this to me.
Yeah, I mean that's wild. Then when I think about that, like I don't know, like just I've listened to the record. It's not necessarily my exact thing. I'm like I respect that. Like that's fucking awesome that he's like bringing more attention to like pop punk music. And there's that Jaden guy or whatever now and. That's wild, and it's like I don't know. Like, is this a revival of pop punk? Is the early 2000s coming back? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, that'd be kind of cool if so. Maybe Warped Tour will finally come back when shows are back.
Now that everybody's interested in music with guitars again, like, shit, we got out of the game at the wrong time.
Man, I don't know. It is pretty cool in that sense. I just I don't know. I hope it brings more like love to smaller, like ish bands. That have worked really hard to try to bring pop punk back. And
It does seem that like, I mean, from what I can see of the youth, that's a very like get off my lawn type of sentence I just said. From what I can see from the youth,
no.
It does seem like people are. It does seem to me like there is a very similar trajectory of kids that are experiencing music and growing. Like to me, oh God, I'm about to say this sentence. TikTok is kind of like what MySpace was, where MySpace was like a lot about music and a lot about promoting bands and a lot about like a social network that had a very strong music component to it. And TikTok is kind of doing a very similar thing where music is very much the forefront. And I think it's really helping to break. I mean, it's new bands, it's All Time Low. It's like, it's all these bands like that.
I was actually watching a TikTok about like music licensing, just like 10 minutes before we hopped on this call, honestly.
This is literally what we do in our off time.
This is what we do. And this person was saying how there was a trending sound from Steven Universe that got DMCA. So it got taken down, all the videos that the sound, and it got silenced. Oh. And they were discussing how and why that is the most idiotic thing to do as an owner of any type of music or record label, because TikTok is the way which dictates the music and radio industry right now, which isn't incorrect. And I think that is just so wild, because you see all these like also like these pop punk bands, they're starting to get radio play, even if it's on like Sirius or like more local stations. Yeah. Like it is crazy how much it is impacting it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy for sure. And like, I don't know, with TikTok, like I'm starting to be, I don't know, I'm like 26 now. I mean, I'll be 26 in August, so pretty fucking soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. When I found out about TikTok, I guess it's like probably like 2 years old now, or is it like maybe 3? I don't know.
I think it blew up like, in the
I think it's like
years.
4, maybe 5 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was pretty reluctant to get it. I don't know. There's so many platforms and there's so many things to post on, and I don't know, it's like a necessary thing now. It's like, I don't know, more people are finding people through that now, and it's like, well, I guess I'll get it. And I feel like it's kind of like Twitter too, that you kind of have to be like a certain kind of person to kind of get noticed on these kind of things, though. Like, I don't know, you gotta have like a personality, you gotta have like I don't know, it's hard sometimes for me to like break out of a shell and just like, because TikTok's, it's kind of like what Vine was, you know, obviously you guys remember that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know, it's like you can post about music, but you also gotta kind of like, seems like some people are posting like skits and shit. Like little, it's like little mini YouTube, you know?
Yeah, it's so weird, because I'm like, I think that there's a very like authentic side to TikTok where it's just people who like literally don't have any training to like make a video, and they're just like, here's me dancing, or here's me singing along with something, and then it like evolves into something else. But like, because it is so much of like the youth culture, that's like everybody on it. Like we've said many times, this is cringe, just be cringe, who cares? Like everything is cringe, so therefore nothing is cringe, I guess. But you kind of just have to like find your authentic self on it. But I totally get what you're thinking, because again, I'm old and I'm like, all these kids being cringe, I'm like, no, I don't do that. I'm worried that
I try to get you to be cringe on there.
Yeah, I worried I peaked with MySpace. I'm worried I peaked on there.
Well, man, I was at the tail end of MySpace. So like when like, because I don't know. I remember like when I started like going more on it was when probably like everyone was trailing off. So it was just when like I would still look up bands, and like they would all still have their MySpace pages and stuff. And I don't know. There was definitely a charm to that area of music. I don't know.
It lives inside me.
Yeah, I know. I feel this sense of nostalgia.
I was so against Facebook. Facebook came to my college. This was back when Facebook like only let you sign up if you had a college email, and it was expanding only to colleges. And I remember being very against it. I was definitely ahead of the times on that, y'all. So I at least have that going for me. I was like, no, MySpace is going to be the one.
Spooky Pants 1 as your name. You had to use your actual name, Ryan.
I know. Well, I didn't. My name on Facebook wasn't my actual name either. But I just remember like being so against it. I'm like, MySpace is gonna, MySpace is gonna stand the test of time. MySpace is where I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna stand strong with MySpace, and here we are.
I'm gonna stand strong with Tom from MySpace.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Tom is my first friend of all time, and
your only
I can't
friend.
leave
Your
him like this.
friend.
Meanwhile, then he left MySpace to go work for Facebook, and I'm like, Tom, how could you?
He did, hey?
Yeah. He worked for Facebook for some time. They, he had his business, and he's like, cool, it's up and running. Also, y'all are going to find out Justin Timberlake owns it now, even though he was in the Facebook movie. There's a very weird,
it's just like, what's going on? Intersection with too many people at once. And you're like, hey, well, can you all just stay on one side? I need to know who's who, and I need you to stay there.
And like,
don't move.
Oh, strange.
Yeah, that's pretty whack.
Yeah.
That's weird to think about. Fucking hell.
And I'm literally putting this metaphor together of like TikTok and MySpace being that like inroad. But I do think like there was a certain authenticity about MySpace where you're just posting music you like, you're promoting bands you like in your top 8. And like that was like the whole scene for me. It was like, these are my favorite bands right now. These are like all of my scene queens and scene kings and all that shit. And you have all that shit going around. And it's the same idea. But I do think that there is a little bit more of like an integration with people that aren't in your like direct scene, people that are from all over the place. People are finding new bands so easily and quickly that it becomes like you have to just put yourself on it because it is the discovery platform now. It's like, where else am I going to go? Like Instagram is not going to be the place for people to find new music. Twitter is not going to be the place people find new music as much. It's a little bit too fast and more text based.
You have
it's
to
like
be you have to be in that niche area too to find new music. Because if like I didn't have my personal Twitter curated, and if we didn't curate our Twitter to be that, we wouldn't get any of that new music.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, Twitter and TikTok seem like kind of the same vein where you have to be like a certain kind of person to like, I don't know, like get noticed. Like Twitter, you got to be so witty. And you got to be like, I don't know, you got to be like a meme king to like get noticed on Twitter, it seems.
Got to be retweetable.
And like with TikTok, I'm still kind of figuring it out. Like I don't know, to me it just seems like YouTube with people with shorter attention spans. That's
it is. Yeah.
That is 100%. And then also like trauma dumping that gets you more traction. And I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting to me. I don't know. I think that TikTok for sure is like the place to be to get like to blow up and to have more people notice you for sure. I just like still trying to figure out how the fuck I can how I can do that.
Yeah.
Is that I found that if you just do videos like through the app on your phone that are like 15 seconds, and if you have no production to it and it's just you and your face going, hey, like this shit happened today, and you post it, that'll get significantly more views than anything that you nicely produce.
Weird.
And it is so frustrating.
Yep.
That's crazy to think about. Yeah, I don't know. And just sometimes I'm just like, well, what the hell do I say? Like, I don't know. Like the other day I was just like, well, fuck, I'm with my dog. I'll just post a TikTok with my fucking dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
and then you just tag like things that you think are relevant but also popular, and then it gets trend. The algorithm makes no fucking sense.
It seems so weird. Yeah,
it's a chaotic way to have social media.
Yeah. I don't know. And like, I remember what Brian, like what you were saying earlier about how like, you know, it's all cringe, you know, like you just like, it's so much cringe. And then I'm just thinking one day I'm going to look back on these TikToks and like, I'm sure lots of people will be like, oh God, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. That's my MySpace too. It's like, I'm not going to go back and look at that. I'm not telling people where to find that shit. Now all of a sudden I got all these TikToks, you know, making dumb jokes. And it's like, oh God, delete that. It's got 13,000 views. You're like, fuck, gotta take that down.
Apparently, if you delete videos too off of your like profile, it affects the algorithm and how many people you view too. And I'm like, why? I don't like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Really? So like for your own account, if you delete your videos, it affects how many videos you can see that pop up on your feed?
Yes, it affects like you getting tracked into the algorithm. And from what I could gather, it's because of them being like, oh, you're just posting things to see if they hit or not and if they stick. So you're not dedicated to making the content. You're just doing it to, get more people viewing instead of like just being an actual content creator. It's so weird.
That's crazy. But I mean, that kind of does make sense, but it's also just like, it's crazy that technology can do that. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
It's and I mean, like being a band, being a podcast, being anything that you're doing independently now means being on all these platforms and learning that algorithm. And I fucking hate it because it makes me so uninterested in making any content for it.
I know. That's kind of like how I feel most days. Where I'm just like, part of me that like almost just doesn't care about like a lot of social media and all doing that shit just because it becomes like work,
Yeah, I watch I mean, I spend way too much time on YouTube. It's the platform I watch the most of anything, more than Netflix.
That's like me too.
Yeah. Now that Loki's done, I'm not watching Disney Plus until the next show comes on. But like, I'll watch YouTubers talk about YouTube and I'll go like, well, this is like information that I need to know because I'm creating YouTube content. Then I'm like, man, I'm so uninterested in making YouTube content because I watch that. Like, I think like making a music video, for example, is a good example of something where it's like, I want to be artistic. I want to create something for the music that I made and I'm going to post it. And I don't really give a shit who watches it because like, it's something in the same way you're writing music for you, in the same way you're creating art for you. I feel like music videos are a visual representation of that same idea. Like I think most people go into that as like, I just want to make something visually that represents what this is, what I'm going through, how I feel about that. And I don't care if one person watches it and feels something from it, or if a million people do and they all get something from it. It matters for me to do it, and it makes me happy to create it.
Yeah. And that's what it should be,
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Like I feel like a lot of whenever I watch like new content creators, like it's all just very like, hey guys, what's going on? Like it's this guy here, it's like a lot of that. And it's like I remember growing up, like, I don't know, watching a lot of YouTube. It seems like a lot of content creators would just like do something that's like just like they're like playing a lot of like, I don't know, they're doing songs like, I don't know, Bo Burnham, for example.
Yeah.
When I forgot who he was, and then like my friend told me to watch this thing, and then I put it on. I was like, this guy seems like a fucking OG YouTuber. I swear to God, like I just watch his videos and I'm just like, this like takes me back to like early 2000s watching YouTube. Then I find out, oh shit, he is an early YouTuber.
Yep. Grew up with it.
That's why he gives me these vibes of just like, just so clever, so much like, I don't know, it's like a long video. It takes a lot of like, I don't know, super, like a lot of talent, and I'm just seeing that. I'm just like, I feel like watching videos back in the day, it would just be so much. People would just find videos that require, like, they're just talented and people would blow up for that. And now it's just like, it's just so different now. It's just so different. And it's just, he keeps evolving in such a different way.
Yeah.
It's strange. I don't know.
It's cool and it's strange. Like I dropped out of college because I saw how good Donald Glover and like Derek Comedy was back in the day. And like he was creating these funny videos, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be like that. Like I'm just gonna do YouTube. I was in school for theater, so that was a waste of my time and money. Yeah. But I did it, and I dropped out because I'm like, yeah, I could just do this.
You really could have just been Smosh Boxman.
I could have been really Smosh Boxman.
Yeah, like Smosh is another like OG. Like they just made videos because they're funny and talented.
Yeah.
And they got noticed for that, and it's not that easy anymore.
It's really not.
Just because you got talent and you're funny and you can make videos doesn't necessarily mean anyone's gonna fucking find your videos at all anymore.
No. I think that though, like I think some people get frustrated by that, right? Like there was so many opportunities in the past, and there was so much room and space for a new artist or a new person to come through and break through because there were just less of it. And now that there's more, it feels like it's much harder to get people's attention. But in a way, I'm like, that's kind of the beautiful thing about it. Is like everybody moved in this direction, and now the people who really care about what you're doing, they're the ones who are going to stick with you, not just random people trying to like follow you through and just be like, oh, this is popular, I'm really cool for listening to it. It's like, no, now the people who really love your music are going to be the ones who like follow you everywhere. They come to the shows, they buy the shirts, they're talking to you, you're in a Twitch stream. So it's like, it's those kinds of people. Man.
Yeah, no, and like I guess there is a silver lining there for sure.
Yeah.
You got like your dedicated fans and people that really care about something you're doing and something that you're crafting, and that's fucking awesome. Yeah, for sure.
I did want to ask, because with your new album that's forthcoming and kind of like looking over the themes that were in your last album, what kind of topics or themes are you able to tell us that you are kind of like covering or like writing about in this upcoming album?
I think that like generally it's still just like sad emo music, like I don't know.
Sold. Million copies sold.
It's I don't know. I think that it's just it's more so about like the past like kind of couple of years that of my life really, and like just like getting older and I don't know, still struggling with a lot of mental health issues and like still struggling with, just being alive and like just going through the motions in life. And there's some more like kind of like sad love songs on the record. So I didn't really talk about a lot about that kind of stuff on the last record. So maybe, I don't know, people always love a good fucking, songs about, who like love songs.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff about like there. It's still sad. There's nothing like, oh, I'm like happy or anything.
You're saying you didn't get happier during a pandemic.
Right?
Really crazy.
Yeah,
actually, this was your time.
One song on there, actually, the second track, I think it is on the record. Actually, kind of, I wrote right in the lyrics I wrote right in the middle of the pandemic, and it was kind of just like expressing how like fucking like how the world is pretty fucked. I don't know, like, and how like a lot of my problems that I had, I don't know, seems like, I don't know, because everyone was fucking scared. Like, I don't know, it seemed like it kind of, I was writing those lyrics at a point where like I felt like the world was gonna end. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's kind of cool. I have a song like that. That's kind of like the topics, at least how I felt during those moments.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's cool. There's some songs on there though that like instrumentally, like I wrote pretty much like right around the time when I was writing the last record. Like there's some fucking old material on there. Like there's a riff that's like the last song on the record that I wrote when I was maybe like early 20s. Like I don't know, there's some old content on there. So it sounds like, it's a little bit more mature than the last record, maybe like a little less like blunt with my lyrics, but like I don't know, it's just it sonically sounds better. Like it was recorded, I went to an actual studio, I had an engineer like mix and master it, so it sounds like fucking really cool. And like there was money put into it this time, like so, I don't know. I'm proud of it. It's sweet, and I hope people listen to it, and I hope people hear it, and like I gotta try to push it, and maybe it'll. As long as I can get it to do better, even better, like even if one more person than the last record like listens to it, this just did a little bit better, and then I'm happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited, fucking pumped.
I think we'll do one more question and then we'll do plugs a little bit. But I do think that like the sad music side of it, because like it changes over time. And people want to listen to like sad music, and then they want to listen to happy music. And it kind of depends on a lot of external factors. And obviously being stuck inside for a year and life changing for everybody is like going to make probably more people want to listen to sad music, I would assume. So I certainly do think that like, and we talked about Bo Burnham and Inside and like all these sort of influences of this pandemic. And we're kind of wondering if it's going to be like, does it stand the test of time? Is this something that people are going to feel for a long time? Is this something that like is going to stick around? I personally kind of think it's going to. Like, I kind of think that like this is going to be like for a while. If people are going to be like, I need sad music because fuck, man.
Oh yeah, but honestly, man, like it seems like that's just been such a like I don't know. Just everyone needs their sad music. I don't know. Well, at least like I know that fans of Youth Fountain and just emo music, if it's sad, it makes them feel something, it's emotional, they'll tend to like it. But like, I don't know, sometimes I've seen artists that like have written a lot of sad music and then they kind of feel better in life and they write songs about being happy, and a lot of people don't like it. It's a thing. I've seen it happen. And I don't know, sometimes I get a little bit like, sometimes I get kind of worried about things like that where I'm like, fuck, well, like, if people like a lot of my sad stuff, and it's like if I try to write songs about like, you know, being happy and stuff like that, which I've tried and I just can't. It's weird. I've tried to write happier songs and I just can't do it. It's really weird. But like it makes me wonder, it's like, does being sad, writing sad music like define me in a way? It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's weird.
It's, you know, there's a couple different ways to think about that. You could be like Blink-182 or Korn writing songs about how they were like losers in high school, and it's like, dude, you're like 45 and you have kids. Like, why are you writing that? Like,
exactly.
You're an adult now.
Weird. I know.
But like, I mean, at the same time, music and the writing process can be like that catharsis. So if it's something that you're going through and experiencing, it's like through that vehicle that you kind of like get those thoughts out, those feelings out, so that your life itself is not, you know, completely bogged down by all those things.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like what you said, as long as I can like separate, like I'm able to be okay, but when I do write songs, it's like that part of me that is super sad and upset can come out through writing. But I can still like, you know, I can separate that and be like, okay, I'm sad here, but in my actual life I can try to be a little bit happier, you know, and try to not let that just define me and like consume me, you know.
Imagine you go to the studio and you're just like, well, time to cry today.
Man, there's been times where I kind of felt that way though, where I've even on like this record, I had some lyrics where I'm just like, I don't know, it makes me feel something. I mean, that's cool. I think that to me that's important though. If I'm writing songs that like actually, you know, they mean something and like, I don't know, they make even me feel something. I know that other people feel that way, because I feel like people can kind of identify when songs are kind of shallow and they don't really mean anything. I don't know. It's like, especially I really believe that with this project, what really makes it stand out is like the heart that I put into it. And like, if I kind of lose that, I think I would lose fans.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
They want the authenticity. They don't want something that's just generic, or like, I think this is what the kids like. They like being sad, right?
Yeah.
I think that would kind of shine through.
Well, let's let you throw out some plugs where people can find the band, the music, the videos, all that kind of stuff. Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Instagram, Youth Fountain Music, TikTok now. I'm sure all the young people that are TikTok will want to see what I'm up to there. So I don't know. You look up Youth Fountain. I'm pretty sure it's just Youth Fountain or Youth Fountain Music, and also Instagram, Youth Fountain Music. Facebook. I think that those are the main ones. So. Yeah.
And Spotify and YouTube and all that good stuff.
And of course, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. Actually listen to the music.
Right. I'm always like...
And YouTube.
Right.
See, it never ends. And Twitter. I'm just like, well, I keep losing track. I'm like, fuck.
So many that are so relevant.
I know.
One of them has to die out. Natural selection.
It just gets a little overwhelming. But yes, find Youth Fountain on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. You can actually listen to the tunes. And check back this fall for some new music. And I'm really excited for the next record. So I don't know. Get stoked. Get fucking stoked on it, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, if you're listening, let's get the newest single, Peace Offering, to 1 million listens by Monday. You can do it.
Up in the background.
Dream.
Just get it going.
Dream.
Get it going. 1 million streams on that single alone. It's just one song. I think you can do it. I think you can get it going. Okay. I have faith in you all. And obviously, follow on everything so you know when the new record's dropping, the new singles, new videos, new everything coming out. So, you know, got to make sure you're there. Oh, and the tour, and go to the tour. Of course.
Yes, even if you're not in Europe, still go to the tour.
Just fly out.
In your heart.
Yeah.
How much are tickets to Germany? Probably cheaper now.
Well, actually, another thing I should plug is we're going to be having a live concert soon as well, probably around late summer as well. So we got a whole live session that'll be available for purchasing. So
hell yeah,
I'll take back for that because that's super sweet too. We played a bunch of new songs and some old ones that are favorites. So that's another thing.
We get that too. 1 million downloads, 1 million views. Getting it, doing it. Well, Tyler, this was so much fun. We're gonna stick around for the Twitch audience and chat with some people over there before the pod recording. Yeah, thank you for joining us, and can't wait to see you in Chicago.
Yes, hopefully next year, some sort of a U.S. tour. I'm sure it'll happen.
Absolutely, we'll be there.
Yes.
Dope.